Hi, it's Carrie Higgs here, and today I'm going to talk about the market. I'm long overdue for a market update, so I'm going to talk about our local market here in Branson, Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, and then also what's going on nationally, so stay tuned. So the market has definitely slowed down, although I'm seeing a ton of cash buyers that have come in because our prices have dropped just a little bit and there's less competition because mortgage rates are higher, and those people getting loans that have to get loans are taking a step back because of the interest rates making the payment too high. So we're going to see how long this lasts. I think it could last a little while longer through the next year is what I'm hearing with the interest rates. But it's interesting to go back and look at what happened in the 80s, because in the 80s, we know that interest rates spiked way up to 18% in 1980. And throughout the 80s, they were, well above 8%. So I remember my first loan in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, around 8%, and 7%, I think, is what we got actually. But I thought that was a great deal because when you look at things, it's all kind of relative, and we had been in those high interest rates for so long. So here's a big difference, guys, in the 80s interest rates and now. In the 80s, things were a whole lot cheaper. An average sales price on a home was only $47,000, and then it steadily climbed. In 1985, home prices did up to $96,000. So interest rates were high, but prices were low. But right now, those prices are still high, and now the interest rates are high. So there has to be some kind of balance that's going to happen. And, who knows how soon that's going to happen. But I think we have plenty of cash buyers coming in that have the cash to buy. And that's what we're seeing right now. And that's keeping those prices up, especially people from the West Coast, East Coast, Texas, all of these people that are looking at the Midwest, and especially Missouri and Tennessee, they're noticing our low taxes, our low prices compared to what they're used to. So they can sell their home for a lot more. They're bringing their cash and buying property. So I think after that slows down and there's some kind of an adjustment with our home prices versus the mortgage rates, it's gonna have to make sense for people to get loans again. So anyway, enough rambling. Let me tell you about what I found in our realtor magazine. And I think I've mentioned this before in my market reports, but I really like to read Lawrence Young's his little reports in our magazine. So he's usually just spot on. Okay, so here's a couple of Lawrence's quotes here in the magazine. He says, "The housing recession is here, but is not what you think. There's very little distress in the market, with less than 1% of home sales in foreclosure needing a bank-approved short sale." So we're not seeing the short sales and the foreclosures at all. Okay, here's another one. A typical homeowner's wealth has jumped an estimated $320,000 versus a typical renter's wealth of $8,000. Real estate investors are also gaining in terms of wealth and strong rent growth. Definitely seeing this in our market too, where we have cash buyers picking up rental properties and they're just gaining more wealth, while, your typical working person that has to get a mortgage is kind of left behind and forced to rent. Also, he mentions the housing shortage. He says there's still a residual housing shortage and inventory conditions are only modestly higher than the super tight conditions of a year ago. So I think that's definitely true, because there just wasn't enough homes being built over the past 2 or 3 years, and we still got to catch up because our inventory is still a bit low. Although locally, I'm seeing a lot more listings popping up on the market. And then also he says sales will stabilize first and then resume modest growth as job creation in the broader economy brings about a new potential set of buyers. Some buyers who were priced out early in June may be ready to jump back into the market, a second chance opportunity. So we're going to see possibly a new set of buyers that may come in and be able to buy again. So we'll just have to see how this plays out, and there's no telling how long it's really going to take. So let me show you in our local market here in Branson what's been going on. As you can see here, the red is active listings, the tan color is new listings, and then the black is sold listings. So this is looking back over 2022, and as you can see, the market gets really pretty active as these lines kind of cross and come together. So February through March was very, very active with listing and sold listings coming together. And then you see those lines widen out after June and July. So as you see these lines widen out, that means the market's getting a bit slower. And days on market, I always like to look at those because that really determines how hot a market is. So this is going back all the way to 2021 in November, where, homes were, selling pretty fast, but on average, this is about 33 days. And then it goes up slightly to 40, drops back down. So it drops back down in the summer of 2022 because we probably have a lot of pending sales happening in the spring and maybe they're closing in the summer. So all of those took about 30 days or under 30 days. And then, August comes and wow, it shoots up to 40 again. And I think it's probably around there or a little bit more by now for your days on market. So let's look at Springfield now. We're looking at the number of listings. Again, all of those lines are pretty close together. And this goes back to November of 21. And, things are getting listed, things are selling. All of those lines are super tight. They widen out a bit in March of 22. And then it comes back together. And then now, September, October, you can see how those lines are starting to widen out on the end. Really a pretty good, healthy market here in Springfield. And even though those lines are widening out a bit more, I know there's still a shortage of homes up there. Now let's look at the prices in Springfield. We can see the active median, sold median, sales price, and list price. Okay, so April of 22, you see how those lines are really coming together? That was a pretty hot market right there at that time. And then they're going to widen out again. And we can see the active prices shot up. They really shot up right after April. Probably because people are thinking, man, this is a hot market. We need to price ours a little higher just because this is too crazy. And here we go. They go down, down, down. After July, you can see them dipping down a little bit too. And now you're seeing those list prices follow and they're dropping down as well. Still a pretty good market, but it's just kind of leveling off just slightly. Oh, there's my Gus. How are you, Gus? What you doing? Gonna be in the video today? So I hope this video has helped you with a little bit of information, and I would say if you're a first-time home buyer out there, don't be afraid of the market. Don't be afraid of high interest rates because, in the past it's happened before. And what goes up must come down. So hopefully they will come down where that payment will make sense for you, because I know that rental is going up. I know that cash buyers are coming in and buying up rental property to turn around and rent to people that are afraid to buy. So don't be afraid to buy. If you need help, talk to a lender, talk to a realtor like myself, and get some help. I'd be glad to help you in the Branson area, Ozark, Nixa, and all around Table Rock Lake. So I hope to see you in the next video, and take care.